Hi students, in last video we have already completed preparations of alkanes. In today's class, that is lecture number 2, we will start properties of alkanes. In that properties, first we will discuss about physical properties of alkanes. Let's see here. First physical property. Alkanes up to 4 carbon atoms. Alkanes up to 4 carbon atoms means methane, ethane, propane, butane, that's it. Up to 4 carbon atoms existed in the gaseous state. Means at room temperature they will available in the form of gases. Okay. Then from C5 to C17. C5 to C17 means pentane to up to C17 alkanes existed in liquid state, and more than C17 like C18, C20, C30, that type of alkanes are existed in a solid state. This is nothing but physical state of alkanes. Second one, solubility. Alkanes being non-polar. Alkanes are non-polar molecules. Sir, what is meant by polar molecule? What is meant by non-polar molecule? That we have already learned in the chemical bonding lesson. Once you please revise that concept. Okay. Here remember, alkanes are non-polar, no poles, no charges. Being non-polar, they are insoluble in water because water is polar. Alkanes are non-polar. Okay. Then, but soluble in organic solvents. Remember, alkanes being non-polar, they are not soluble in water, but they are soluble in organic solvents like benzene, ether, etc., etc. Third point, boiling point. Generally, boiling point is directly proportional to molar mass, nothing but molecular mass. More is the molar mass, more is the boiling point. That is first point. Next, in that, see here, the boiling point of N alkanes. What is the meaning of N? N for normal alkanes without having any branches. Normal alkanes increases with increase in the molecular mass. I'll repeat. Suppose like methane to ethane, ethane to propane, propane to butane, like that. That means if carbon chain increases, obviously molar mass increases. If molar mass increases, boiling point also increases. Next, for every addition of CH2 group, boiling point increased by 20 to 30 degrees centigrade. For every addition of CH2 group means, for example, ethane and propane, CH3, CH2, CH3. It is ethane and propane. Then from here to here, one CH2 has added. Ethane to propane, if you take, CH2 group has added. Suppose ethane boiling point, just imagine 30 degrees centigrade, just imagine. Example purpose I am telling you. Ethane boiling point 30 degrees means propane boiling point should be, what is telling? Then for every addition of CH2 group, boiling point increases by 20 to 30 degrees. Means if its boiling point is 30 means your boiling point we have to add 20 to 30. Like 20 we can add, 25 we can add, 30 based on that structure. Means its boiling point may be 60 degrees centigrade because CH2 group has added. Ethane to propane boiling point increases. Then propane to butane also boiling point increases. Butane to pentane also boiling point increases. Like that, the number of carbons are increases. That too, normal chain increases. No branches. Normal chain increases. Boiling point also increases. Next. Why boiling point is increases? Because van der Waals attraction forces will be increased. Next point again important point. As branching increases, boiling point decreases. See here carefully. I will give you an example. Example is like CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Its common name is N-pentane. Normal pentane, all carbons arranged in the straight chain, no branches, nothing, and its experimentally obtained boiling point has given 36 degrees centigrade. Next structure I will write like this: CH3, CH, CH3, CH2, CH3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is isopentane. Isopentane is common name, and IUPAC name is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2-methyl butane. N-pentane, isopentane, N-pentane, isopentane. Here, one carbon is present as a branch. It is a parent chain. It is a branch. Parent chain, branch. Here, no branch. Here one branch is there, one branch is there, one branch is there. If a branch is there, what happened? If a branch is there, what happened means surface area decreases. Here more surface area is there. Because of more surface area, one molecule to other molecule, more attraction forces are present. Because of more attraction forces, its boiling point is more. If a branch is present, what happened? The surface area decreases. Once the surface area decreases, intermolecular attraction forces decreases. Intermolecular attraction forces decreases means obviously, definitely its boiling point also decreases. Its boiling point 36 degrees centigrade means isopentane boiling point is just 28 degrees centigrade only because branch is there. Next, one more example I am giving CH3. CH3, 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 CH3. Just count it total. How many carbons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Its common name is a neopentane. Neopentane, neopentane, and its IUPAC name is 1, 2, 3. 2, 2 dimethyl propane. Here in the parent chain 5 carbons are there. In the parent chain 4 carbons are there. In the parent chain 3 carbons only present. When parent chain contains 3 carbons only means again its surface area decreases. Once the surface area decreases, what happens? Then intermolecular attraction forces decreases. Definitely its boiling point is still decreases and its boiling point reached nearly 9.5 degrees centigrade only. All are having the same molecular formula, no doubt. All are pentane compounds only. N-pentane, isopentane, neopentane. But its boiling point is 36 degrees centigrade. Here 28 degrees centigrade. Here just 9 degrees centigrade only. Because here it is completely normal chain, more surface area, more intermolecular attractions. Here one branch is there, surface area decreases, intermolecular attractions decreases, boiling point decreases. Here still surface area decreases because we are having 2 branches. Still surface area decreases, intermolecular attraction forces still decreases, automatically boiling point also decreases. Right. That's why as branching increases, boiling point decreases. Because the surface area decreases, van der Waals forces decreases. Okay. Example, N-pentane, isopentane, neopentane. And this is about the boiling point. Then what about melting point? Melting point also same relation only. Melting point also directly proportional to molar mass. Melting point also directly proportional to molecular mass. But here twist is generally even number of carbon atoms. If alkane having even number of carbon atoms, okay now, if alkane is having even number of carbon atoms, its melting point is more than odd number of carbon atoms. Once again, if alkane is having even number means like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. When alkane is having even number of carbon atoms, definitely its melting point is more comparing with odd number. Odd number is nothing but 1, 3, 5. Then question arises here. Sir, why even number of carbon atoms melting point is more than odd number of carbon atoms? Very simple. If a compound is having even number, its structure should be symmetrical. Its structure should be perfect symmetrical structure will be there. Due to its perfect symmetrical structure, its melting point will be more because it will be very strong. That's why its melting point is more. Once again, melting point also directly proportional to molar mass. But even number of carbon atoms are having more melting point due to symmetrical structure compared with odd number of molecules. That's it. These are the physical properties of alkanes. Very simple. Then in your notes clearly all the points has given. Please read them properly and try to understand them properly. Okay. Then we'll start chemical properties of alkanes. Chemical properties. Yeah. Right. Then already known to you, alkanes are also called as paraffins. Paraffins means their reactivity is very less because they are highly saturated compounds. They are having carbon-carbon single bond. That's why their reactivity is very less. That's why alkanes are generally less reactive in their chemical properties. But if you provide some extraordinary conditions, if you provide some abnormal conditions, alkanes are participated in the substitution reactions. Substitution, not addition reactions. I'll repeat once again. Alkanes undergoes substitution reactions only, not addition reactions. Then what are those substitution reactions? Let's discuss now. Okay. In that first substitution reaction is nothing but a halogenation. In that halogenation, we will discuss about chlorination. Let's see what is halogenation. What happens in halogenation process? Okay. For that purpose, we'll take an example of methane. Right. Methane is reacted with chlorine in the presence of sunlight. Sunlight or we can also heat up to 573 to 773 kelvins. I'll repeat. Alkane, that is methane, is reacting with chlorine in the presence of sunlight or if you heat at or up to 573 to 773 kelvins temperature. What happens means all 4 hydrogens are replaced with halogens. Means 4 hydrogens are removed. In place of 4 hydrogens, chlorines are substituted. That reaction will discuss clearly. See here carefully. First, methane reacted with chlorine. In the first step, what happened? 1 hydrogen removed, 1 chlorine substituted. You will get a CH3Cl plus HCl. Once again, total 4 hydrogens are there. 1 hydrogen have removed. In place of hydrogen, 1 chlorine has kept there. That's why you will get CH3Cl. And whatever the hydrogen you have removed, that hydrogen, and here 1 more chlorine is there, you will get HCl. Means here how many hydrogens are there? Only 3. Okay, now only 3 hydrogens are there. What about 4th hydrogen? In place of 4th hydrogen, chlorine has substituted. Okay, right. We'll get a methyl chloride. Then the reaction has not stopped. Next, that methyl chloride is undergoing a further chlorination, further halogenation in the presence of same conditions. Then 1 more hydrogen removed. 1 more hydrogen removed and 1 more chlorine substituted, you will get a CH2Cl2 plus HCl. Its common name methyl chloride, its common name is methylene chloride. Methylene chloride. Its IUPAC name is chloromethane. Its IUPAC name is dichloromethane. Next, at this stage also reaction has not stopped. That compound CH2Cl2 is reacted with 1 more chlorine molecule. Automatically what happened? 1 more hydrogen removed, 1 more chlorine substituted. You will get a CHCl3 plus HCl. We are getting chloroform. Chloroform is a common name. What is IUPAC name? Trichloromethane. Chloromethane, dichloromethane, trichloromethane. No confusion at all. 1 by 1, all hydrogens we are substituting with chlorine. Next, this chloroform is reacted with 1 more chlorine molecule. And whatever the last hydrogen is there, that hydrogen also removed, and in place of hydrogen 1 chlorine has substituted. You will get a CCl4 again HCl. Its name is the carbon tetrachloride. Carbon tetrachloride is common name. Tetrachloromethane is IUPAC name. Right there. Then here first 4 hydrogens are there. Finally, all 4 hydrogens are removed. In place of 4 hydrogens, 4 chlorines are substituted. That's why this entire process, the entire phenomena is called as a successive halogenation. Successive halogenation will call. Means after formation of methyl chloride, reaction has not stopped. Immediately you will get this compound. Again reaction has not stopped. Immediately you will get this compound. Again has not stopped. Finally we will get CCl4. After formation of CCl4, then a reaction has stopped. Why? Because no more hydrogen to undergo further substitution. Successive halogenation is taking place. Continuously all the reactions are taking place one by one. Finally you will get this compound. Okay, that's why here single compound preparation is difficulty. We are getting a mixture of compounds we are getting in this process. Okay, then question arises, Can't we prepare single compound here? Yes, that is also possible. See here carefully. Suppose if you take excess chlorine, try to understand. Chlorine taken excess, chlorine has taken excess, then all these reactions takes place successively. I'll repeat, chlorine if you take excess, all these reactions takes place one by one, one by one, one by one. Why? Because every reaction we are using chlorine. That's why if chlorine is excess, all the reactions are taking place. Suppose instead of chlorine, if you take methane excess, methane taken excess, remember, chlorine has not taken excess, only methane taken excess, then reaction definitely will stop at formation of or after formation of first step, first product. I'll repeat, when methane has taken excess, reaction definitely will stop here only. Further 3 steps will not take place. Two different phenomena. If chlorine taken excess, all the reactions takes place continuously. For methane taken excess, only first step takes place, remaining steps will not be takes place. That's it. Okay? Actually, this reaction is having its mechanism. The mechanism includes chain initiation step, chain propagation step, chain termination step. But this year, due to this pandemic situation, some syllabus has reduced. In that reduced syllabus, its mechanism also removed. That's why I am not explaining its mechanism. At the time of competitive examination discussion, we will discuss its mechanism in our classroom. Okay? Right. Then we will go to directly second chemical property. Once again, it is first chemical property, its name is halogenation. Which halogenation we are doing? Chlorination we are doing. Chlorine we are substituting in place of hydrogen. It is 100% substitution reaction only. What is the meaning of substitution? Means existing atom we are removing, new atom we are keeping. That is only called substitution process. Right. This is first chemical property. Then we will go to second chemical property, that is combustion. Combustion. Yeah. What is meant by combustion? What is combustion? Very simple. Combustion is nothing but burning. Burning in the presence of air. Combustion is nothing but burning in the presence of air or oxygen. Let's see now. What happens when alkanes are undergoing combustion? When methane is undergoing combustion in the presence of oxygen. Remember blindly, whatever the organic compound, in its combustion process, the obtained compounds are fixed. The obtained compounds are always fixed. Which components are obtained? Means one is carbon dioxide and one is water. These two compounds only always obtained. When organic compound, any organic compound undergoing combustion, these two products are obtained. And one more important thing, remember, combustion is always exothermic process. During the combustion, always the amount of energy releases. If you want, you can burn any substance if you burn, the amount of energy released. That's why it is exothermic process, delta H negative I am writing, means some amount of energy released. How much amount of energy released? That is experimental result. If you know the value, if you know the exact value, then you can write. Otherwise, delta H equal to negative symbol you can write. Don't write wrong values, because all the values are obtained from experimental data only. Okay. Now we will just balance the equation, because it is not balanced form. First we will balance the carbons. Luckily, one carbon, automatically carbons are already balanced. We will go to hydrogens. 4 hydrogens here, 2 hydrogens here. If you write 2 to the 4, left side 4 hydrogens, right side also 4 hydrogens. Hydrogens are balanced. Then we will balance oxygens. Right side, how many oxygens are there? 2 plus 2, 4 oxygens are there. That's why I am writing here 2 to the 4. Left side also 4 oxygens are there. Oxygens problem has solved. Okay, right. This is one example for combustion process. Here alkane, that is methane, is burning in the presence of air. We will get a carbon dioxide and water, along with that some amount of energy released. And one more example, let's take C4H10, its name is butane. It is methane, it is butane, it is another alkane, is also undergoing a combustion. then already known to you, obtained components are fixed, no need to think, and delta H value is also negative. Okay, again we'll make the balancing. Left side 4 carbons are there. If you write here 4 carbon, carbon problem has solved. Left side 10 hydrogens are there. That's why if you write here 5 to the 10 hydrogens also problem, balanced. Then we'll go to oxygens. Right side, how many oxygens are there? 4 to the 8. 8 plus 5, 13 oxygens are there right side. 13. Suppose if I write 13 here, suppose 13 to the 26, it is 13. It is not balanced. Right side 13 oxygens are there. Left side also should be 13 only. That's why don't write 13. If you write 13, it becomes 26. That's why here instead of 13, I am writing 13 by 2 if you write. 13 by 2. 13 by 2 is nothing but 6.5. 6.52 is 13 only. That's why balancing purpose I am writing here 13 divided by 2. That's it. It is again complete balanced equation only. Now it is methane, it is butane. Now I will give you one general equation, general example. CnH2n plus 2. One general alkane is undergoing a combustion with oxygen. Then definitely you will get a CO2 and the H2O. These are the pakka components, fixed components, and delta H is negative. Now, general reaction, how to balance? General reaction, kaise, how to balance? Once we will observe these reactions, see carefully. If a carbon dioxide mole is 1, water moles are 2. Means carbon dioxide to water, if you observe, one number is more. Second example, just watch. Carbon dioxide is 4, water is 5. One number again increases. Means carbon dioxide and H2O, it is, suppose if it is N, it is N plus 1. If it is N plus 1, any reaction. That's why carbon dioxide moles I am taking N. Water moles should be N plus 1. Water moles should be N plus 1. If it is 1, it is 2. It is 4, it is 5. 5, 6 like that. Then here oxygen moles, how much we have to write? For that purpose I will write here 3n plus 1 by 2 moles. 3n plus 1 by 2 moles. It is general reaction. Whether correct or not, we will just check that. Compare, we'll compare. Suppose this equation will compare. C4H10 means instead of n we will write 4. C4H10. Right, here also. 3 into 4, 12 plus 1. 12 plus 1 by 2, 13 by 2, 13 by 2. And n equal to 4, 4 CO2, 4 CO2. N equal to 1, 5 H2O, 5 H2O. Tallied, correct. Means this is a general combustion reaction of alkanes. A general combustion process of alkanes. CnH2n plus 2, 3n plus 1 by 2 O2, NCO2, n plus 1 H2O. N plus 1, this you have to remember. If it is n, it is n plus 1. N plus 1, 4, 5 like that. Next we will discuss one general reaction for incomplete combustion. Incomplete combustion. One example for incomplete combustion. Let's see what happened. When methane is undergoing incomplete combustion, when methane is undergoing incomplete combustion, we are not getting carbon dioxide and water, remember. It is incomplete combustion. These are the complete combustion. It is incomplete combustion. In the incomplete combustion, you will get carbon black, carbon solid, carbon black. Along with that, water vapor is obtained. That's it. During the incomplete combustion of any alkane, you will get carbon black is obtained. Right. This is about combustion. Till now, two chemical properties we have learned. First one was halogenation, that to chlorination. Second one is combustion process. Okay. Right. Next chemical property also we will discuss, but just a minute before that. Next we will discuss about third one, controlled oxidation. Controlled oxidation. Yeah, let's see what is the difference between combustion and controlled oxidation. combustion and controlled oxidation difference will observe. See here. Then example I am giving directly. Methane is undergoing a reaction with oxygen. Again, one more example I am giving. Methane only reacting with oxygen. Please try to understand. Here reactants are quite similar. When reactants are quite similar, what we are expecting, will expect quite similar products. Quite similar products we are expecting. But in the first case we are getting a methyl alcohol. In the second case we are getting a formaldehyde and water. Of course, balancing not yet completed. Here first we will write here 2 and here 2. Sorry. And if you write here 2, whether it is balanced or not, you have to check then. Total 8 hydrogens are there, 4 to the 8 hydrogens, 2 oxygens, 2 oxygen, 2. Yeah, it is completely balanced. Its name is methyl alcohol or methanol. Then whether it is balanced or not, you have to check then. 1 carbon, 1 carbon, 4 hydrogens, 4 hydrogens, 2 oxygens, 2 oxygens. It is also absolutely balanced. Then question arising, sir, why reactants, if you take same reactants, why products are not getting the same is a big question mark. Okay, why products are different means who is controlling the products? Who is controlling the products? That we'll discuss. Here products are controlled by reaction conditions. Reaction conditions means it may be catalyst or it may be condition like temperature and pressure also. Right. In the formation of methyl alcohol, here I am using a catalyst, copper, and temperature we are using a 250 degrees centigrade and 100 atmospheres pressure we are maintaining. Means when methane and oxygen both are reacted to each other, if you maintain these conditions, you will get that product. Suppose instead of copper, if I use MO2O3, molybdenum oxide, and instead of 250, if I maintain 275 degrees centigrade, then we will get this product. Means reactants are same, remember, reactants are same, but products are different. Why products are different means here reaction conditions are different. Reaction conditions are different, catalyst is different, temperature is different, pressure is different. If you maintain different conditions, different products are obtained. That's it. Who is controlling now? What is the meaning of controlled oxidation? Who is controlling? These things are controlling. These things are controlling our products. Even though reactants are same, don't write same product, remember, because here conditions are not same. One more example we'll take, that is ethane. Ethane also undergoing oxidation in the presence of manganese acetate, CH3COO taken twice Mn. In the presence of manganese acetate, you will get acetic acid, CH3COOH, and water is obtained. Again, when ethane undergoing a combustion, ethane undergoing oxidation, we cannot say here combustion. When ethane undergoing oxidation, we are not getting here CO2 and H2O. We will get acetic acid and water because its name is manganese acetate. Manganese acetate is controlling the product. And one more example we will take, that is okay, here a balancing purpose we will take here 3, of course, it is a 3 number, here also 2, if you write it is completely balanced form. Next, one more example I am taking, it is example 1, example 2, example 3, and 4th example is like this, CH3, CH3, CH3H. Its name 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 is a parent chain. 2-methyl, 2-methyl propane. 2-methyl propane, 2-methyl propane is undergoing oxidation in the presence of strong oxidizing agent KMNO4, potassium permanganate. In the presence of potassium permanganate, this compound is undergoing oxidation, and after oxidation you will get the product CH3, CH3. Instead of H here, oxygen will come and join, you will get OH. When a 2-methyl propane is undergoing oxidation in the presence of potassium permanganate, then obtained compound is this one. Its name 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 means 2-methyl, 2-methyl, 2-methyl propane 2-ol. 1, 2, 3. 2-methyl propane 2-ol. 2-methyl propane 2-ol is obtained. These four are the examples for controlled oxidation. Who is controlling? Means whatever the reaction conditions we are using, those conditions are controlling our products, remember. Okay, right. Then after controlled oxidation, we'll go to another chemical property, that is isomerization. Next one is isomerization. Isomerization. Yeah, what is the meaning of isomerization? Means conversion of one isomer into another isomer. That's it. Conversion of one isomeric form into another isomeric form. Yeah, I am giving you one example. CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. N-hexane it is. N for normal. Normal nothing but no branch. N-hexane, we are doing isomerization. N-hexane is undergoing isomerization. During the isomerization, what happened? Reaction takes place in the presence of AlCl3 and HCl nearly at 300 degrees centigrade. Then N-hexane is possible to convert into two forms. I'll repeat. When N-hexane is heated at 300 degrees centigrade in the presence of AlCl3 and HCl, our N-hexane is possible to convert into two forms. What are those two forms? Means CH3, CH, CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3, CH3, CH2, CH, CH3, CH2, CH3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Its name 2-methyl pentane. Its name is 3-methyl pentane. Once again, N-hexane is converting into 2-methyl pentane and 3-methyl pentane. Means one form is converting into another form. One isomer is converting into another isomer. One isomer is converting into another isomer. This phenomena only called as isomerization. One isomeric form is converting into another isomeric form. And in the last class, in the previous class already I said you, alkanes always exhibits chain isomerism only. That's why 2-methyl pentane, 3-methyl pentane. Which isomers these are? 2-methyl pentane, 3-methyl pentane, they are 100% chain isomers only. There actually seems to be position because here methyl attached to second position, here methyl attached to third position. Generally we'll assume it is a position isomerism. We'll think that these two are position isomers, but that is absolutely wrong. Alkanes never shows position isomerism. They are 100% chain isomers only. They are chain isomers only. They are chain isomers only. Right. This is about isomerization, fourth chemical property. Next, fifth chemical property is aromatization. 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 Let's see then what is meant by aromatization. Aromatization, I'll explain along with a direct example only. Okay, yeah, CH3, CH2, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, CH2, CH3. Try to understand structure carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons are there. Everywhere carbon single bond only is there. Means it is N-hexane only. Means we can also write like this: CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This structure and this structure 100% same. Just my convenient purpose I have written like this. Just a convenient purpose I have written like this. Means it is N-hexane. It is also N-hexane. N for normal, normal, no branch. See here, no branch at all, no branch. When this N-hexane is heated, when N-hexane is heated, in the presence of vanadium pentoxide supported with alumina at a 600 degrees centigrade, as well as a 10 to 20 atmospheric pressure. Please try to remember these conditions. You have to by heart that conditions because they are experimentally obtained. Okay, right? When N-hexane is heated with vanadium pentoxide supported over alumina at a 10 to 20 atmospheric pressure, then the entire molecule undergoes D for elimination, dehydrogenation. Nothing but a hydrogen molecule will be eliminated. After dehydrogenation, will get one new compound. That compound is like this. Its name is benzene, which is aromatic compound. Non-aromatic compound is converting into aromatic compound. Non-aromatic compound converted into aromatic compound. This phenomena only called as aromatization. Aromatic compound is obtained. Benzene is present. It is aromatic compound. And here what happened? Hydrogen molecule is evolving. How many hydrogen molecules are evolving? Let's discuss. Here a total how many carbons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons. Here also of course 6 carbons. Here how many hydrogens are there? 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 14 hydrogens are there. Here how many hydrogens are there? 6 hydrogens only present in the benzene. Let's have 14 minus 6. 8 hydrogens are going out. 8 hydrogens nothing but a 4H2. 4H2 is going out. It is also called a dehydrogenation process. You have to remember these conditions. That's why remember what is meant by aromatization means if N-alkanes contains a minimum 6 or more than 6 carbon atoms, N-alkanes which contains 6 or more than 6 carbon atoms, those compounds when we are treating in these conditions, means in the presence of vanadium pentoxide supported over alumina at 600 degrees centigrade and 10 to 20 atmospheres pressure, they undergoes a dehydrogenation and will get its corresponding aromatic compound. When N-hexane undergoing aromatization, will get benzene. Instead of N-hexane, suppose if you take N-heptane is nothing but like this. CH2, CH3, 7 carbons. If N-heptane undergoing the same aromatization in the presence of same conditions, you will get a toluene is obtained. Because here 7 carbon atoms, there also 7 carbons only, like this. This is about aromatization. Nothing but non-aromatic compounds are converting into aromatic compounds. The two N-alkanes should have minimum 6 or more than 6 carbon atoms contained alkanes. When we are heating, when we are treating in particular conditions like vanadium pentoxide, alumina, 600 degrees centigrade, 10 to 20 atmospheric pressure, if you maintain, then N-alkanes are converted into aromatic hydrocarbons by losing hydrogen. That is also called dehydrogenation. Next is reaction with steam. Reaction with steam, water vapor. Then what happens when alkanes are reacted with steam? One directly example will take methane is reacting with a water vapor H2O at 1000 degrees centigrade in the presence of a nickel catalyst. You have to maintain the conditions. Then you will get CO plus a 3H2 mixture is obtained. When methane is reacted with the steam, water vapor, under these conditions, you will get a CO plus total 4 plus 2, 6 hydrogens are there. That's what I have written 3H2. CO plus 3H2 mixture is obtained. Actually, this mixture is called with one name, that is called as a water gas. We'll call it as water gas also. Of course, when methane is undergoing a reaction with the steam, you will get a hydrogen gas. hydrogen gas is evolving, along with that carbon monoxide also obtained. Okay, and this is another chemical property. Alkane, methane, reacted with the same, you will get carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and reaction takes place at 1000 degrees centigrade in the presence of nickel catalyst. Okay, next last chemical property is seventh one, I think, pyrolysis process. Pyrolysis process. Let's see what is meant by pyrolysis. Pyrolysis means heating of given alkane in the absence of air. In the absence of air as well as oxygen. In the presence of air or oxygen is called as combustion. Now we are heating given alkane in the absence of air. Then what happened in the pyrolysis process means a big alkane is breaking into smaller alkanes. That's it. A big molecule is breaking into smaller molecules in this pyrolysis process. Okay, let's take example and discuss. Yeah, C6H14 I have taken, its name is hexane. When hexane we are heating, when hexane is heated at 773 kelvins, then I'll give you all possibilities. Hexane, when you heat at 773 kelvins temperature, which products are obtained, I'll give you then. All these are the possibilities, anything may happen. First possibility is C6H12 plus hydrogen. Hexane converted into hexene, alkene plus hydrogen is eliminating. See here, again hydrogen eliminating, this particular process we can also call dehydrogenation. We can also call first method, because hydrogen is losing, hexane converting into hexene. Next, same hexane at 773 kelvins if you heat, there is another possibility. What is another possibility? Means C4H8 plus C2H6. Means a big molecule is breaking into smaller molecules. One is a C4H8, one is a C2H6. It is a alkene. Its name is a butene. Its name is ethane. Its name is of course hexene. Next, one more possibility. Another possibility is C3H6, C2H4 and CH4. See here, big molecule is breaking into smaller molecules. In the absence of air, no more oxygen we are using here, remember. And it is again a propene, alkene, and it is ethene, alkene. This is methane, alkane. These are the possibilities. Sir, how to remember? How to remember? Very simple. First, hexane, of course. Hexane. In the first step, same 6 membered only. It's 6 membered, it is also 6 membered. Just hydrogen you have to eliminate. Okay? Hexene, alkene is forming. Second possibility, if you take, then we have to remove 2 carbons. You have to remember like that. 2 carbons should be less. That means C4H8. Anyhow, alkene. It is alkene, it is also alkene. Alkene. One is the alkene. Next one is alkane. C4H8, remaining is C2H6, because C4 plus C2, C6, 8 plus 6, 4 plus 2 is 6, 8 plus 6 is 14, because the reactants and products should be same. Yeah, alkene. Next, another possibility is here a 6 membered chain, here a 4 membered chain, next a 3 membered. Then again it is a C3H6, again alkene, propene, then C2H4, ethene and CH4, methane. Remember blindly, then these components are alkenes and last 2 components only alkanes. First one is anyhow hydrogen. In the second equation, second compound alkane. Third equation again last third compound is alkane. Second equation, second compound, third equation, third compound. Second equation, second compound, third equation, third compound, they are alkanes. Remaining all are alkenes only. Hexene, butene, propene, ethene. You just made one trick yourself. You have to prepare your own trick. Based on the trick, you have to remember these products, because they are experimentally obtained, not given by any particular lecturer. Okay? Right. Next, one more pyrolysis process I'll give you. And remember, this pyrolysis is also called as cracking. This pyrolysis process is also called as cracking. Now I'll give you one more example, like C12H26 I have taken. It is a satisfying alkane general formula, alkane, and 10 carbons if present, it is called a dec. 11 carbons present means ecadec. 12 carbons are present, dodec. That's why its name is a dodecane. Dodecane. Yeah, when a dodecane is also heated, here one important thing you have to observe. Here a 6-membered chain I have taken, here a 12-membered chain I have taken. 6-membered, 12-membered. 6-membered chain, if I taken a temperature, we are maintaining nearly 700, I mean 773 kelvins. Exactly. 6-membered have taken here 12-membered, means the temperature also we are expecting almost 1400 kelvins you have to maintain, remember. 1400 kelvins we have to maintain, that we are expecting. But remember, but I am maintaining, I am giving here just 973 kelvins only. Why 973 kelvins temperature only we are maintaining? Because in this sorry, in this process, not only temperature, we are also using some catalyst like nickel, platinum, palladium, like a catalyst we are using. When catalyst is used, definitely required temperature will be decreased. Required temperature will be decreased. Here a catalyst has not used, that's why 700 kelvins, nearly 773 kelvins. If a catalyst is used, definitely whatever we are expecting, 700 means we are expecting here 1400. But 1400 is not needed. Why? Because here nickel or platinum or palladium catalyst we are using. Suppose if catalysts are not used, definitely we would have maintained 1400. In the presence of catalyst, temperature requirement is decreased, right? Then a dodecane also undergoing decomposition, undergoing breaking into smaller molecules. Okay, now dodecane also breaking into smaller molecules, like what are those smaller molecules? Means C7H16 heptane and C5H10. It is a heptane alkane, it is a pentene alkene. One is alkane, one is alkene. 7 plus 5, 12, 10, 16 plus 10, 26. Alkane, alkene, alkane, alkene. Along with that, some other byproducts also obtained. Some other products will also obtain in this process. Remember, and when we are not using any catalyst, then that particular process we will call it as pyrolysis. Pyrolysis. And suppose when we are using any catalyst, then that process is called as cracking. This particular process will use as cracking. Of course, cracking, pyrolysis, both are same only. Both are same only. Minute difference is we are not using any catalyst. That's why it is particularly called as pyrolysis. Suppose if any catalyst has used, that pyrolysis is called cracking. It is also pyrolysis only, but particularly we can also call it as cracking. Okay, whatever we are expecting temperature, that temperature is not necessary, because the catalyst we are using, we will get alkane, heptane, pentene, alkene. This is about pyrolysis. You must practice properly. All these reactions you have to try to understand and write as possible as times, and you have to practice. Okay, yeah, from this we have completed chemical properties of alkanes. After completion of chemical properties of alkanes, before we will going to enter into alkenes, one more concept we have to learn, that is only isomerism in alkanes. Isomerism. Alkanes, which isomerism shown? Alkanes shows conformational isomerism. Alkanes shows conformational isomerism. Now I will explain about conformational isomerism in alkanes. Conformational isomerism in alkanes. Yeah. Then we will explain conformational isomerism of alkane by using a particular example. According to our NCERT book, we will use ethane molecule and we will discuss conformational isomerism. Ethane molecule. How? See. Ethane we can also write like this: CH3 bond CH3. Both are same. CH3 bond C2H6. Okay, right. Now what I am doing, whatever the ethane is there or not, this ethane I can write in two different methods. What are those two different methods? Means one is like a Sahar's structure, one is Sahar's structure, one is a Newman formula or Newman structure. Let's see. This ethane we can write in two methods. One is Newman's method, Newman's formula otherwise, and one more is a Sahar's formula. Sahar's formula, Newman's formula, Sahar's formula. Then according to Newman's formula we have to write ethane only. According to Sahar's also we have to write ethane only. Ethane, how to write? Very simple. According to Newman formula, how to write ethane? Because CH3 should show. See here carefully. First we have to write one dot. We have to write one dot, and after that we have to write one circle. According to Newman formula, or we can also say Newman projection formula. Newman's projection formula. Then first we have to write one dot. After that we have to write one circle. Sir, what is the meaning of this one? Very simple. Whatever the dot we are using, this dot is nothing but one carbon. This carbon. And one more thing. Let me complete. And if you write suppose ethane like this. Suppose if I see this direction, this is my front carbon, this is backside carbon. If I see like this is my front carbon, this is backside carbon. Suppose if I see like this is my front carbon, this is backside carbon. Front, backside. Exactly. Suppose I am seeing like this is my front carbon, this is my backside carbon. That's why whatever the front carbon is there, that front carbon we have to show with a dot. And that front carbon is having a 3 hydrogens. Those 3 hydrogens I am attaching like this. 1 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 3 hydrogens. It is a front carbon with the 3 hydrogens. Nothing but it is one methyl group. And a backside carbon again with the 3 hydrogens. Whatever the circle we have taken, that circle is nothing but a backside carbon it is. Backside carbon also having a 3 hydrogen atoms like this. Yeah. This one, both are same. It is according to Newman's projection formula. Once again, whatever the dot is there, this is front side carbon. That dot is having a 3 hydrogens. It is nothing but one methyl group. Whatever the circle we have taken, it is a backside carbon. That backside carbon also having a 3 hydrogens. It is also one methyl group. Right. Then according to Sahar's formula, how to write ethane formula? How to write ethane formula? Try to understand. Okay. Again, if you see like this, it is a front carbon, it is backside carbon. Then in Sahar's formula, first we have to take one line like this. One vertical line we have to take. Yeah. Then in that line, whatever the downward position is there, this is front carbon. We'll make one dot. Whatever the upward position is there, this is backside carbon. Again, we'll make one dot. Okay. It is a front carbon, backside carbon, front side carbon, backside carbon. And the front side carbon is having a 3 hydrogens. I'll write 3 hydrogens like this. Hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. Exactly. Backside carbon also having 3 hydrogens. Exactly same I'll write. Hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. 3 hydrogens have shown. That's it. This is a Sahar's formula. This is Newman's formula. Sahar's formula, Newman's formula. Sahar's formula, Newman's formula. Okay, right. Now what is our heading? Conformational isomerism. Conformational isomerism. Now I have to explain conformational isomerism in alkanes. Conformational isomerism in alkanes to explain the conformational isomerism. We can use either we can use either Newman formula or we can use as a Sahar's formula. I am using a Newman's formula and I'll explain. With the help of Newman's formula, I'll explain that is a conformational isomerism in alkanes. Let's see conformational isomerism in alkanes with the help of Newman projection formula. Yeah. Then to discuss conformational isomerism in alkanes, particularly ethane, we are using a Newman projection formula. Then I have given some diagrams. If you see the diagrams, I think you may not understand what is the conformational isomerism. For that purpose, I am using a ball stick method. Ball stick method. See, this black side, black colored balls, black colored things are called as balls. Whatever the white color things are there, they are sticks. Ball sticks, right? With the help of this one, I'll explain conformational isomerism in particularly ethane. Try to understand. This black colored ball is nothing but one carbon having a 1, 2, 3 hydrogens. And another black color ball is called as another carbon and having again 3 hydrogen atoms. It is one methyl group. Between methyl will have one single bond. It is nothing but one single bond. CH3 single bond CH3, because in alkanes carbon will have single bond. Exactly, it is carbon will have single bond, carbon will have single bond. Let it, what happens now? Because the entire conformational isomerism will depend on carbon single bond only. Okay, right, try to understand. Now, this is my front carbon, it is backside carbon. This is my side, it is a front carbon, it is backside carbon. Now, what I am doing, front carbon I am keeping constant. Front carbon I will keep constant, and whatever the backside carbon is there, that backside carbon will rotate like this. We can rotate. One carbon we are keeping same and other carbon I am rotating like this. Whether rotation is possible or not, means yes, because of single bond. See here carefully, because of single bond, rotation is absolutely possible. That's why first carbon, front carbon I am keeping a constant, backside carbon I am rotating like this. I am rotating like this. Okay, rotate. What happened? What happened here actually? Right. See here carefully. Exactly first one form I have kept. See here, it is a front carbon, it is backside carbon to me, and it is hydrogen, it is a hydrogen. And if you arrange like this, if I see like this particularly, this front hydrogen is covering the backside hydrogen. This hydrogen is covering this hydrogen is covering this hydrogen. This arrangement is called as eclipsed form. We'll call it as eclipsed form. Eclipsed, just like solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, like that. Means this front hydrogen is covering backside hydrogen. Means if you see like this, I can see only front hydrogen, I cannot see backside hydrogen. Front hydrogen only I can see, backside hydrogen I can't see, because front hydrogen is covering backside hydrogen. This form, this arrangement is called as eclipsed form. Next, this eclipsed form, if I rotate exactly 60 degrees angle like this, yeah, have rotated 60 degrees. Eclipsed form, if I rotate exactly 60 degrees, you will get another form. This another form is called as a staggered form. Staggered. Alright. Once again staggered form, rotate 60 degrees, again you will get eclipsed form. Means eclipsed to staggered to eclipse, bond angle will be only 60 degrees. Eclipsed, if you rotate 60 degrees, you will get staggered. Staggered, again if you rotate 60 degrees, you will get eclipsed only. Okay, right. In between eclipsed and staggered, infinite number of isomers are possible. Infinite. I'll repeat. Between eclipsed and staggered, infinite structures we can write. Infinite arrangements we can make. How? Exactly 60 degrees if you rotate, you will get staggered. Suppose I am not rotating 60, I'll rotate only 10. I'll rotate only 12, 15, 20, like that we can make infinite rotations. Infinite rotations we can make. All infinite rotations together if you write, that form is called as a skew form. Skew. That's why total how many forms are there? Eclipsed form, staggered form. Between eclipsed and staggered will have another form, that is a skew form. I have written here. See here. This is eclipsed. This is a front carbon, it is a backside carbon. It is a front hydrogen, backside hydrogen. Front side hydrogen, backside hydrogen, front side hydrogen, backside hydrogen. It is of course a two-dimensional board. That's why we cannot keep completely backside. You just assume it is eclipsed form. Front side hydrogen is exactly covering back side hydrogen. Front side hydrogen is covering back side hydrogen. Front side hydrogen is covering back side hydrogen. It is eclipsed form. This eclipsed form, if you rotate 60 degrees, eclipsed form, if you rotate 60 degrees, you will get a staggered form. In staggered form, what happened? This hydrogen is coming here, hydrogen is coming here, this hydrogen coming here, this hydrogen is coming here. This is staggered form. Suppose a staggered form, again if you rotate 60 degrees, you will get back eclipsed form. Means eclipse to staggered, staggered to eclipse, 100% it is possible. We can rotate. That's why these isomers are also called as rotamers, because rotation is possible. Next, between eclipse and staggered, so many angles we can make. Instead of 60, we can make 10, 12, 15, 20, like that. Infinite angles are there. All forms, all arrangements together have written as one form, that is a skew form. It is neither eclipsed nor staggered. Neither eclipsed nor staggered. We can write like this. There is no any like systematic type. Neither eclipsed nor staggered. Right. Total how many forms are available? 3 forms are available. These 3 forms only called as conformations, and the phenomena is called conformational isomerism. What is the main reason to show this conformational isomerism? The main reason is rotation around carbon-carbon single bond. Because of rotation only these conformers are possible. And it is eclipsed form, staggered form, it is a skew form. Eclipsed, if you rotate 60 degrees, you will get staggered. Again, if you rotate 60 degrees, you will get eclipsed. Between eclipsed and staggered, so many structures we can able to write. All structures together called as skew forms. Skew forms, right. Now the question arises. Out of these arrangements, which is a more stable arrangement, which is a less stable arrangement? Very simple. If you see eclipsed form, both hydrogens are exactly one hydrogen backside to other hydrogen. That's why both hydrogens are close to each other. Their very close arrangement will be there. Because of closeness, here repulsive interactions are more. Repulsions are more. Because of more repulsions, it is least stable. Least stable. Why it is least stable? Because of more repulsions. And already known to you, repulsions as well as, energy as well as stability, both are reciprocal to each other. It is a least stable, means more energy. It is having more energy. Which is having more energy? Eclipsed form having more energy. Come here, staggered form. Staggered form advantage is hydrogens are more far to each other. They are very far to each other. Because of that reason, your repulsions are almost minimized, no repulsive forces. If repulsions are less, then it is a more stable form, more stable. Stability is more, automatically energy is less, very less energy, least energy, almost no energy. It is least stable, most stable, least stable, most stable. What about skew form then? What is the stability of skew form? Skew form stability is more than eclipsed, less than staggered. Skew form stability is more than eclipsed form, but less than staggered form. That's why stability order, how to write? Highest stability is a staggered form. Then we'll write middle skew form. Stability order it is. Then we'll write a least one is eclipsed form. This is a stability order, because here repulsions are completely minimized. Here repulsions are more. Here repulsions are in intermediate level. Less repulsions, more stable. More repulsions, less stable. It is intermediate form. Right. Next. Then we are telling that eclipse, if you rotate 60 degrees, you will get staggered. Staggered, if again rotate 60, you will get eclipsed. Whatever the rotation we are doing, whatever the 60 degrees we are doing rotation, that is called as a dihedral angle. Dihedral angle, right. Then in eclipsed form, both hydrogens are very close to each other. Because of that, repulsive forces are more between two hydrogen atoms, and because of repulsions in this molecule, more strain, more stress developed, more strain developed. That strain is called as a torsional strain. Torsional strain. where we are having more torsional strain. In eclipsed form, we are having a more strain, more stress. Why? More repulsions are there. Blindly remember, more repulsions, automatically more is the strain. That is called a torsional strain. Because of more torsional strain, less is the stability. Because of less torsional strain, more is the stability. Okay? Of course, then in eclipsed form, dihedral angle will be of course 0. Dihedral angle will be 0. Dihedral angle is very less dihedral angle. Okay? That's why, see, sorry, here we will do like this. When eclipsed form is rotated 60 degrees centigrade, of course, we are getting a staggered form. In eclipsed form, between one hydrogen to other hydrogen, the bond, angle, dihedral angle will be 0. Okay? Because of less angle, because of less dihedral angle, more torsional strain will be there. Because of less dihedral angle, more torsional strain will be there. If more strain is there, less is the stability. That's it. This is about conformational isomerism in alkanes. Total how many conformational isomers are there? Staggered form, eclipsed form, and in between skew form is there. And what is the main reason? Main reason is because of carbon-carbon single bond. Because of single bond, rotation is possible. That's why these are also called as rotamers. Right. And one more point, between eclipsed and staggered, isomers, the energy difference is, between eclipsed and staggered energy difference is 12.5 kilojoules per mole. This is the energy difference between eclipsed form and staggered form. 12.5 kilojoules mole. That's it. Okay. Yeah. From this, we have completed the first topic of hydrocarbons, that is alkanes, successfully. In your first, this coming unit test, up to alkanes syllabus will be there. Okay. Right. Remaining in the next class, we'll start alkenes topic. Okay. Thank you for watching. Bye.